Few figures in recorded history have been preserved with as much confidence as Solomon. His name appears settled, resolved, synonymous with wisdom, stability, and order. The tradition surrounding him leaves little room for doubt. He is remembered as a king whose judgment calmed conflict, whose reign brought prosperity, and whose words continue to circulate as instruction long after his death. History speaks of him as though understanding itself once took human form and ruled from a throne. Yet certainty often conceals strain. When Solomon's story is read closely, the image begins to resist its own smoothness. The wisdom attributed to him is vast, but rarely defined. His insight is praised, but its source is treated with caution. The records celebrate what his reign produced while remaining curiously quiet about what it required. This silence is not accidental. It is patterned. Solomon did not inherit wisdom. He asked for it. The request itself has been praised as humility, but it also marks a decisive moment of intent. He did not seek strength, territory, or longevity. He sought perception, discernment beyond ordinary human measure. What such a request entails and what it assumes is rarely examined. Wisdom of that magnitude is not passive. It must be carried, exercised, and sustained. As Solomon's reign unfolded, his reputation grew alongside his isolation. His understanding expanded across domains that blurred natural boundaries: human behavior, governance, nature, order. He spoke with authority on matters that resisted containment, and with that authority came a growing insistence on mastery rather than balance. Knowledge no longer functioned as guidance alone. It became a means of control. The surviving accounts suggest a gradual shift. Solomon's curiosity did not remain satisfied by observation. He pressed into areas that earlier traditions approached with restraint. Certain practices, symbols, and techniques appear at the margins of the record, referenced briefly and then softened or redirected. These moments are rarely explained. They are simply absorbed into the legend and left unresolved. What emerges is not a portrait of sudden corruption, but of slow recalibration. Solomon does not fall. He adjusts. The language of his later writing reflects this change. Less assured, more repetitive, increasingly preoccupied with futility, excess, and weariness. Wisdom, once celebrated as clarity, begins to sound like exhaustion. Insight does not resolve uncertainty. It multiplies it. This book does not argue that Solomon's wisdom was false, nor that his reign was a deception. It suggests something more difficult to confront, that certain forms of understanding exact a cost that is not immediately visible, that proximity to power, intellectual, spiritual, or symbolic, alters the inner architecture of the one who holds it. The story that follows examines Solomon not as a caricature of good or evil, but as a human being who stood too close to forces that required limits. His legacy is unsettling, not because it is monstrous, but because it is plausible. His experience exposes the quiet danger of pursuing total comprehension in a world that resisted. Solomon's reign is remembered as golden. What remains less explored is what tarnished beneath that surface, and what continued to linger long after the crown was set down. This is not a retelling meant to shock. It is an examination meant to unsettle. What follows is the story of wisdom carried too far, and of the residue it leaves behind.